It was actually way cooler than I expected it to be.
Wow, this is very intuitive.
That was cool. Oh, I did it!
Unbelievable.
That was really fun, and that was a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Welcome to Upward with Transfr, where we tackle our evolving workforce and how educators, governments, and industries are changing to keep up. We're dedicated to building effective pathways for workers and job seekers to get the skills they need to get to well-paying careers in high-growth industries. Our part in that is designing and distributing hands-on simulations that learners can use to explore new career options and develop core skills before entering an in-person vocational training program. Transfr simulations augment human educators, broadening their range of classroom possibilities without expensive facilities build-outs or specialized equipment. I'm Jack Sislak, Editorial Director at Transfr, and your host for this episode. I'm joined by Transfr's own Amanda Longtain, Director of Economic Development, and Ryan Ott, Executive Director of Big Ideas. Let's jump in. The pipeline for new trainees and eventual workers in the skilled trades like manufacturing, construction, electrical work has declined dramatically in recent years, which spells disaster for our nation's infrastructure and people's daily lives, as key skilled workers who are responsible for the smooth functioning of society retire or otherwise leave these industries. This decline is especially ironic given that many jobs in these fields can provide family-sustaining wages without a college degree. A major reason for the lack of new trainees in these roles is a lack of knowledge by the general public of just what they could offer. Ryan Ott and Big Ideas are working with job seekers of all kinds to help them understand the career options available to them and get started on their unique pathways to success. Amanda, Ryan, thanks so much for joining us. We're just going to go around alphabetically by first name and introduce ourselves. So let's start with you, Amanda, and then we'll hear from Ryan.
Hi, everybody. My name is Amanda Longtain, and I am the Director of Economic Development at Transfr, and I've worked in education for 18 years.
Oh, great. My name is Ryan Ott. I'm the Executive Director here at Big Ideas, and we're a nonprofit that promotes skilled trades.
Awesome. Like I said, super excited to have you both here. To start off, Ryan, go ahead and just tell our audience a bit more about yourself, your organization, and the kind of work you're doing.
Yeah, so I've only been with Big Ideas for about, 20 months or so, relatively new on the bus. I come from residential construction, so I'm a licensed contractor. And in fact, everybody that we deploy as staff in our events and all of that are licensed or are skilled trades people, right?
Oh, cool.
So everybody has that knowledge historically in their training. So when we're talking to people, we have firsthand knowledge about different skilled trades. Big Ideas has been around since 2017. We offer primarily hands-on VR exploration into skilled trades, various skilled trades. So that's kind of our motivation. Our mission is 13 plus. That's kind of who we serve. That's where we start off. So we start pretty young. We like that younger age, just to get them motivated, get them interested, get them an idea what the trades look like. So.
Very cool. Yeah, I think, giving young people at various points in their lives an opportunity to look at these as a serious career path and not just an afterthought, in high school, you get one day at a career fair or something.
Right.
Now, that's awesome. And you mentioned that you're heavily using VR already. So, how are you using it? Where does it fit in the overall suite of services? Tell us a little bit more about what it looks like.
Our base model is mobile learning lab. So we have two different trailers. We have a semi-trailer that's fully heated and cooled, and it has a bunch of different experiences. And we also just got done building a gooseneck trailer. So we do an excavator. So we do a VR excavator.
Cool.
We have augmented reality welders. We do VR paint, so they get an experience in paint. We have a wood ed table that comes out of France. So it's like a table saw or a bandsaw. And then we use Transfr VR. So our typical setup would be we would roll into an event, set up the lab, and then move Transfr inside. And that's kind of our hub. So everybody, of course, depending on the style of event, let's say we're going to go to a school, for instance, we'd have the class of, let's say, 20 or 25 students break up into different groups. And then we would stage them at each one of the experiences. So they start at Transfr.
Nice.
And then the person at Transfr kind of leads everything. So then once they're done with the transfer station, they'll move to the next station and the next station, and then kind of rotate through all of it. And then everybody gets an opportunity to participate in each event or each experience, basically. We have 2 labs ready to go. We use 10 Transfr headsets, actually. So we have 2 sets of 5 is what we deploy currently.
And had you and other people on the team, what was your overall experience with VR maybe before you came to Big Ideas, or like where?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about your experience and people's experience, because you're all skilled tradespeople. That's awesome. And you also said that you built out the trailers. I thought that was a really cool detail. But so tell us a little bit more about the relationship between skilled trades and VR. It sounds like it's robust.
Yeah. So myself personally, I'm not a gamer. So I'm in that area that I should be a gamer, right? But I've always been in the trades, really building things. So I don't have even like, claim to fame might be Guitar Hero as far as gaming goes, but zero VR experience ever. So when I first got here, it was all new, going through these simulations and participating in the VR. And now it's like, wow, I can definitely see, we kind of talk about it. Young people now are really into gaming. They're brought up on the internet. They're brought up with all of this digital technology. And we kind of talk about that like it's the Matrix. And we want to bring them out of the Matrix into the real world, right? So it's Transfr, and it's the excavator, and it's these things that they can connect with in a safe environment and try to use a saw or change oil in a car or use the excavator in the virtual reality and say, wow, I'm kind of good at this. This is interesting. And then we can say, hey, do you have shop class coming up next year? Or are you looking for an opportunity in some of this stuff? Would you like to learn more? And then we can kind of direct them through that pathway from there. So it's really kind of connecting them where they are right now, making them feel comfortable and saying, whoa, I do have a little bit of a skill in this. This is actually interesting to me.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question. I love what you're describing. So when we're thinking about success and really getting learners excited about these career pathways, what does success look like for Big Ideas after they, go through these experiences and recognize that they have natural aptitudes and talents? Like, what is that next step for y'all? And what does success look like within that context?
We have a very difficult time calculating what success means for us. So we're a nonprofit, and I like to think of us as way upstream, 13 plus. Of course, we do adult events, but 65% of our events are at schools. So it's really 13 to 18, basically. So 7th, 8th through 12th grade. And success for us is just participants. We just like to see participation. We want to have people go through it. But actionable next steps is where we have industry partner network coming on. So if you are a senior or if you're a younger person who wants to take a tour, we're partnering with some industry people that they can say, hey, you have an interest in being, a diesel mechanic. Here's some opportunities out here. These are the actionable next steps that they can follow, really. So it's difficult for us to define success. It's really just participants, I guess.
Yeah, I actually love that. And one of the things that we talk about at Transfr is how these experiences also provide a learner with hope.
Yep.
And even though hope is hard to measure, it's hard to qualify as a success indicator. That's literally what pushes us forward to that next step. So I realize that maybe it's difficult to quantify, but it still matters. And I love that they're connected to industry. That is so incredibly valuable.
We love an industry connection over here. We're not just building amazing software and product. We're building connections. And to Amanda's point, hope. And the people have to feel like they can change and that they can improve their situation. And it sounds like you're giving them a way to see themselves in a new role, in a new way.
Yeah, exactly. Starting off with the younger people, maybe the high school age people, it's giving them that opportunity to try different things in a low fear way. They know what digital technology is. A lot of them have some kind of VR headset. A lot of them understand gaming. So it's really easy to connect them to these opportunities within the trades and then say, hey, do you have shop class? Or would you like to see what this industry looks like from the inside? And we can move that from that digital space to the real space to, their future and what they can see for their future.
Right on.
I'll open up a little bit of a can of worms about the connection. So I was not a good student. I didn't finish high school. I got kicked out, actually. I had to go to an ALC, which is Alternative Learning Center, and I got my GED. But when I was at high school, the shop teachers really took me under their wing. They helped me out with my schedule, and they taught me some skills in high school, which then transferred to when I was, out of high school. Now I got my GED. What's next? And I went into the trades and I started building stuff. And from there, I built a company and I had my own business, and I've employed hundreds of people in my life. And this is what can happen in the trades, right? And I know that from my personal experience. I know if you're not a good student, not everybody enjoys school. They don't get it. They don't know what's going on until you get older. And then now when you're a 40-year-old person, you say, well, maybe I should have paid a little bit more attention. But I wasn't ready for it then. And using my hands and putting myself to work got me somewhere. I have 2 kids. I have a house, a great family, and built a good life out of it. And I wouldn't have that if I didn't have those skills right in the beginning. And that's what brought me into this position. So I was kind of in a transition moving from St. Cloud to New Ulm. And I had a business up there, and I was thinking, do I want to keep doing the trades? Am I going to move my shop and all of that sort of stuff? And kind of just started looking on Indeed and saw this opportunity and said, this is my life. Like, this is exactly, I need to be the person that's connecting people to the skilled trades, because that's my lived experience. This is where I come from, and that's my story. And I can tell that to other people, right? It's not just somebody pushing a computer button and saying, here, kid, learn how to weld.
Right.
I can say one of the first classes in high school was welding. That's how I got into the shop class. And then from there, I learned more skills, and they're transferable. And I figured out how to do this and figured out how to do that, and then built that through my life, and then decided, hey, I have an opportunity to start my own business here. And just from there, it's just a cascading positive emotions in the trades, I guess, really.
You can hear it in your voice. Yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like the work you're doing is definitely building on that legacy that you were talking. And I, as you were telling the story, I have people in my family who didn't complete high school. My mom ran an alternative high school, like what you're describing.
Yeah.
To get my art credit in high school, I took design and draw. So I did the mechanical drawing, and then worked in the shop class. Mr. Savini, if you ever hear this, I still remember you. Never did another shop class because it was perfect, but that's awesome. Yeah. So cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to connecting those pathways and just saying, hey, you might be struggling now. Right. But stick with something, learn the skills. And once you know how to use a hammer, you'll always know how to use a hammer.
That's right.
You'll always have a job.
It's so cool.
Well, and I love how you make mention of those transferable skills. I will also tell you, I am a first-generation college graduate, didn't even start college until I was 22, didn't recognize my value until I started working in the hospitality industry as a 16-year-old. My dad dropped out of high school, ended up becoming a journeyman. So the fact that you are providing that context and value as a lived experience is just so powerful, I'm sure, for the learners that you're serving. And again, those links that you talk about, linking the experience to ensure that we don't lose them, because when they fall through the cracks, that's when it becomes almost impossible to get them back. So I really appreciate where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's so important. And I could tell stories the whole time, I guess. And if that's, the platform, we went back to my high school and I got to work the event, which was really good for me. And of course, it's all new faculty and staff and everything. Sure. So I was going through my shop class and thinking about things. And at the end of the day, the shop teacher said, hey, we've got this one kid who sometimes shows up, sometimes doesn't, rarely participates, And as I was watching them walk out to the trailer, I was thinking, this is a 50-50 shot. This kid is either going to take a right and leave for the day, or he's going to go in there. And they stayed. And he's like, this is the first time I've seen this kid participate during the whole class. And you guys captured his imagination. I saw you guys having conversations with him.
Yes. And
he stayed here. And that was, for that teacher, was so powerful. And I think in part it's like real people having real conversations, because we don't leave in. What do you do when it's a rain day? Rain days suck sometimes, Hey, you're out there working, and it's either you pack up and you go and you clean out the trailer, or you're cleaning up your workspace, or you're doing something else, or sometimes you're out there doing what you got to do because it's got to be done. And we have those conversations, right? Yeah. And I think, when you're not a teacher and you're not an influence, you're not a parent, you have just real people talking to you about real situations. It's more captivating, or it is captivating.
Totally.
So, my dad is actually right. It is whatever, parents don't know anything, but when it's somebody that you've never met saying the same thing, like, oh, wow, that's, Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
That's
independent.
good.
It's independent data point. And audience at home, I wish you could have seen my face during that whole story, Ryan, about this kid and going into being engaged. This is personally why I love doing the show. I love doing the podcast. I love talking to our clients and guests and all that. Wow, that's a really great place for us to wrap things up for part 1. Join us for part 2, where we'll dig into exactly how Ryan and Big Ideas are using Career Exploration 2.0.